What up, everyone, and welcome to the Comic Cave. It's your boy Russ, and I got a very special guest in the building with me today. It's another artist interview. Why don't you introduce yourself real quick, bro?
Hey, how's it going? My name is Benji, aka BENNI Bolivar. Local Houston rapper, bass player.
You do a lot. You ain't just the you engineer, you do the mixing, but you play bass. Who do you play bass for?
Skeptic Nation, another local punk band.
You rocking the hoodie for
all day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always repping Skeptic.
We're gonna talk a little bit about Skeptic. We're gonna talk a little bit about your art and your comic influence within your art and everything along with that. Without further ado. So, you are another artist that I have gotten to work with, opportunity to meet. We met working in live shows and stuff together.
Yeah.
And found out that you were an artist and you're a pretty dope rapper. But your performances are literally like unlike any other show, concert performer, musician, like anything that I've ever really seen, honestly. You are very, very, very theatrical. You wear, I'm gonna have pictures of all this up so you guys can see. You wear face paint.
Yeah.
And normally when I see something like that, I would assume that it would have to do with like Tech Nine or ICP or something like that. But after talking to you a little bit more, you said that there's more to that influence. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Obviously I know why you're asking that, but like a big part of it, a big part of my influence came from method acting.
Okay.
Right. And the first time that I saw somebody do like method acting where I was like blown away and like realized that was a thing was, Heath Ledger doing the Joker. Right.
So Heath Ledger's Joker specifically puts an influence on your live performances.
Oh, definitely. My whole artistry, in all honesty.
Okay.
Because I remember seeing that, and I was really blown away from it. Like, because I actually grew up watching Heath Ledger and all of his other stuff. So seeing him do Joker, and it was just like you get to a point where you don't recognize him. Right.
Yeah. No, for sure.
That just it blew me away, and so I started like trying to think of certain things that I can do with that. But with the whole face paint thing, basically what ended up happening one day, I started trying to like make more story type songs, and not in the sense of like me narrating, but like I'm acting different characters in songs, and
it's a very unique way to look at it.
Right. And one day I had to make a song for a play. And I was basically playing like a good angel and a bad angel for somebody.
Okay.
And so it was like me going back and forth with myself. Right. And so I ended up they asked me like if I had any ideas of what I can do visually for the play. So it's like, well, let me paint half my face, like, like a skull. And leave the other one normal, have like my hair on one side, like braided, and the other one hanging out. I had a black wing and a white wing. It was a lot of fun. And so I had the face paint, took a lot of time on the face paint, and then one day...
Yeah, it's detailed.
Very, right? And then one day, one of my friends, he's a performer. I think you've worked with him too. It was Amaru.
Yeah.
He asked me to go out to one of his shows. He was doing a Halloween show. And they said that if I went in with like face paint or a mask, I can get him for free. So, this is my dude. I wanted to support anyways.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, man, cool. Just come in with the face paint. So all right, I went in. And I met another artist. His name was Trippy Main Mingo.
Okay.
Me and him did a lot of work together. And one day he asked me to like perform with him. It was his show, but like I was there as his hype man, one of his hype men. And I got to perform a song. And, he asked me like, hey, are you going to wear the face paint? And at this time in my life, I wasn't like thinking about doing face paint, but people just kept asking me to do the face paint. And it just became like a thing because every time I would go out somewhere, it's like, oh, you were the one with the face paint. So I stayed with the face paint. But
I feel like the face paint is a cool aspect of your performance, but man, the way you get into character, like if you don't mind, I'm sorry, I don't mean to like cut you off, but comparing that to the Heath Ledger's Joker, like, how, like, do you have to, like, separate yourself before a show to get, like, in that mental state?
Kind of, sort of. I actually, so even, like I said, my whole artistry was influenced by it. So, like, the most recent project that I can, like, tell you about it where, like, this really came into effect was not the EP I just dropped, but the one before, Submission, the extended play, right? So for that one, before I even got into writing or anything like that, I actually started to, like, isolate myself, right? Thinking about, like, what Heath Ledger did. So I isolated myself.
Yeah, he stayed in, like, a hotel for a while, didn't he? Yeah. They say that might have played a part in, like, his depression or something.
Some people have. I've looked at some of the documentaries. Like, I don't fully agree with it, but... But, you know, I still tried to do something like that where, like, I wanted to we're focused on different things. So I started focusing on different voices, taking influences from things on the subject matter and the character that I wanted to portray. I actually wrote the album as a storyline first. Okay. And then I wanted to be the character in that story.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
So I got into this character, started watching a lot of S&M movies, reading S&M books, looking at visuals, listening to music that was S&M themed. I wanted a specific sound, so I won't only listen to music with that kind of sound.
So for the people who don't know, say what S&M is.
So that's a whole topic in itself.
I'm just briefly say what it is.
Briefly things. It's S&M can be slave and master. Probably the easiest thing. Like, so S&M is a lifestyle where people kind of like so you have somebody who's a dominant, somebody who's a submissive to their to
bondage stuff.
Yeah, bondage stuff, right? Because it's short for BDSM, and BDSM, like, there's multiple acronyms in there. That's
within it, right. I get you.
But so I'm not into that per se, right?
But you had a whole project like about that, right?
So I got really into that, and the thing was that I would only write in character.
Okay.
That was the whole thing.
So did that bleed into your normal life?
For about 2 years, yeah. Like, it was pretty rough, man. When I finished the project, I actually had to, like, take a huge hiatus from everything to, like, kind of like recalibrate.
Yeah, I get you.
It's crazy.
I get you. All right, so then is Joker one of your favorite comic book characters in general?
For sure.
Or like, okay.
Yeah, I love Joker. Like, I sit at home and practice Joker monologues.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
So does that get you, like, into a zone as well?
Yeah. Joker stuff definitely gets me into a zone. You mentioned, like, before shows, like, part of the paint actually helps me be in a different character. Like, if you see me perform, like, in the band versus you see me perform as a rapper, I feel like it's two different people.
It's way different. You playing bass, you slapping the bass up on with the Skeptic Nation. I've been privileged enough to be able to see both of his performances. Yeah, completely different. Like, you don't... It's just, when I see you playing bass, it's you playing bass, and you're just into the vibe and into the moment. When you rap, bro, when you're on stage, you are a different person. Yeah. Like, legit... I'm always going to go back to this, like, because I've had you on a couple of shows, but the first show I ever had you on, literally, and this is not common for, like, a local scene or for hip-hop scene in general, but when this man went on stage, everyone shut up. Like, everyone shut up, and eyes were on him, paying attention to every word and detail that you're doing. You command that stage. You definitely take charge and demand people's attention. And it's just wild. Like, I'd never seen that, and to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think I've ever seen that since. Like, even at larger shows, like, I haven't seen everybody in a room just that focused on what was happening on stage. But back to, like, the comic side of that stuff. So did Batman get you into Joker? Did you kind of come into Joker on your own? What are some of, like, your other comic? Do you have any other influences that kind of play into this stuff? Or
so as far as my artistry, Joker's it. For sure. Like, it's not that I'm trying to be Joker, but, like, aspects of Joker I've always loved. And again, Heath Ledger doing the Joker. Right. So when I started studying method acting to help my artistry out, obviously immediately I started looking at the other guys. I looked at obviously, like, Jack Nicholson. I looked at even, like, Cesar Romero a little bit, like his laugh and stuff like that.
So you literally you looked at all different portrayals and stuff.
Every single portrayal that I could, both just voices, actors.
On this note, because this is a little bit more of a recent thing, did you watch Gotham, the TV show?
Oh yeah.
What do you feel of Cameron?
I thought it was great. I thought it was.
Thank you. That's my man right there.
Yeah,
because that man pulls off. I don't care what anybody says. That man pulls off every single like version of the Joker. You got that gangster in there. You got the theatrical.
Yeah, you had the death of a family Joker.
Yeah, you got the New 52 in there. Like that man did it, and it drives me crazy when people are like, "I just didn't like his performance." But why? Because that man performed his ass off.
He did. If somebody says that, I think it's because they want to be a purist to like something else that they've seen. Like, and even him, like he even says that his inspiration for it was Mark Hamill, and like when you think of the Joker, at the end of the day, the first thing that comes to mind is the cartoon and Mark Hamill's laugh and everything for me.
Yeah.
And to know that like he was at least willing to admit that was a big influence.
I feel like anybody, if you ask them like who's your favorite rendition of the Joker, it's cop out to say Mark Hamill. Like obviously Mark Hamill's Joker is like the best because that's what most people grew up on, but it's animated. Like who's your best live action? Like
that's a very specific question. Like I remember the first time somebody said Kevin Conroy for their favorite Batman. That wasn't a cop out thing because nobody said that. Right. So like I think it is important to like realize that like for like people our age now, before everybody else, at the end of the day, we really grew up with that. You know, like we had. I remember seeing Adam West. I remember seeing
Bam, wham,
pow. You know, I was still like in Venezuela when I saw that.
I'm sorry, I have to shout this out. The Adam West Batman TV series. I got the soundtrack on vinyl recently, and it's freaking dope. I actually posted like a little clip of some of it playing on Instagram. You guys should check that out. But but
I mean, I grew up with that. I remember the 1989 Batman. Watching that. But the cartoon was just it, bro. I was like actually trying to figure out how to play it on my bass the other day.
Well, that's dope.
But you know, like you grow up on that, and it really has a very special place in my heart. Right? Sure. You know, at the end of the day, like from the things that it was trying to teach, the aesthetic of it. Actually, like I feel like if you really look at my like any of my album covers from like my font choosing and stuff like that, there's probably more subconscious, but now that I think about it, it's probably more influence from like the Batman cartoon.
That's pretty cool. That's cool
because I've always liked. I don't necessarily like this kind of lettering and stuff like that, but this is for the band, right? This is not my aesthetic solely.
I get you.
But like my personal stuff, the aesthetic is always like a very more classy type of thing for a certain type of way.
That there's a word for that type of drawings and like paintings where it's like the long lines.
I've heard Gothic before.
Gothic is
it's kind of there.
One of them, but like there's Chris actually this is his favorite type of art, and I'm forgetting the name of it. So like he's probably in the comments.
Typography.
Man, no, that's not the word either. But just for how like specifically how Gotham had, not Gotham. I'm sorry. Well, how Gotham was portrayed within the animated series. Just the long classic lines of like just the buildings and the text and all that stuff. Like there is a word for that specifically.
I mean, I've seen a few different ones, but it is a specific style, and I've always loved that style. You know, like I've always kind of leaned more towards that, and for my personal stuff, I always kind of have those kind of fonts. It's always a little bit darker. If you remember Submission specifically, it was like black and white, but it still had like that font. My logo, that kind of font.
That's true. Yeah, now that you're kind of bringing my attention to it, that's cool.
I would venture off to say that like Batman had a huge influence on the cartoon.
Yeah. Okay.
So
What other comics and stuff are you into? Are you into, or is it mostly just like Batman?
Spawn.
Ain't nothing wrong.
I love Spawn.
Oh, Spawn is a good one.
I think
that man changed the game when it comes to.
He really did, and like I feel like a lot of people like they forget to mention the things that Spawn has done.
Man.
You know, especially when they came out with Black Panther, and it's like, oh, he was the first one that did this, and like the first two that came to my head was Blade and Spawn.
Right.
Like they really slept on those two.
Yeah, Blade doesn't get enough credit either, especially for like live action stuff. Like he was probably one of the first ones that really kind of brought Marvel back to the limelight on live action before the MCU was like really a thing.
Definitely. I remember watching the Spawn adult cartoon series on HBO.
The HBO.
I actually have like 2 copies of that.
I was gonna say, do you have HBO Max?
No, but I have the Spawn cartoons. So.
Spawn's on there, and the Batman the Animated Series is up on there.
Okay.
So.
Well, yeah. So that was a big thing for me. That clown was a big one.
That clown is creepy, bro. Yeah. That clown is Violator? Probably more creepy than Joker, in my opinion. That clown, when I was a kid, scared the crap out of me. Joker didn't scare the crap out of me. That clown scared the crap out of me.
I always had a weird thing for clowns, dude. Like I just loved clowns. I actually little known fact, in high school, I actually thought about being a professional clown.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, would you go to clown school and everything for it?
Yeah, I would have done it.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. That might have helped you with your music and shit if you would have done that. That would have been cool.
It probably
Maybe you should still do it.
Maybe. I got a friend that ended up doing it.
Doing it? That's cool.
He had to go to Washington, though.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing. Like, you actually have to, like, do a whole performance to pass. And, like, it's apparently clown school is really difficult to do. Apparently, like I've heard, but...
I guess it's like being a mime, dude. Like, it's not the easiest thing to do.
I feel like being a mime would honestly be harder.
Yeah.
To, like, tell a story without speaking and without
because they're really big on
we're getting very sidetracked.
I know, right? But they're really big on the facial expressions, and that's why their makeup is meant to emphasize facial expressions.
Right.
So I've seen that. I've been around that briefly, but those were big things for me as well.
I get you. Well, I do want to ask about Skeptic Nation as well, since you are a part of that. Dude, are any of those guys into comics as well? Or?
I feel like Kevin is, but we don't talk about it as much.
I get you. I feel like comics in general have just, now that it's I don't want to just say cool, but more accepted to be into comics and things like that. You're seeing a lot more of the influence on a lot of artists, and the way it comes out. And I was just more or less curious about, I don't know, the anarchy sign, if that happened to come from Batman at all, if they just like anarchy.
No, I think the way that it came about, if you were to ask me, it's it is a punk band, and the anarchy symbol is definitely a big thing for it.
Right.
So that's just always been a big part of it. If you see that, you usually know that it's a punk band.
Yeah, sure.
And it came from that. But that all existed before I joined the band.
Gotcha.
I just kind of came and flip things a little bit, from the way that I approach
gave
bass.
Your perspective. Yeah. Not just bass though. Your music business mind and stuff. I'm sure.
Yeah, all of that. From the way that we were marketing ourselves, the way that we sounded. I even changed this logo. This is the classic one. This doesn't exist anymore. So you switched it around. New stuff. Yeah. It's all.
You got the OG, bro. You got the classic. Now everybody can get this.
Right. It is what it is. But yeah, I feel like they are into it, but it's just not something that we've really sat down to talk about often.
I get you.
We are into TV, and we love our Netflix episodes and shit.
So pop culture in general and stuff. Yeah,
for sure.
I just had to ask. So other than Heath Ledger, what is one of your favorite renditions of the Joker what's one of your favorite Joker stories? First off,
all right. So,
because you and we talked about this a little bit, but
so for obviously the first one that comes to mind is the Killing Joke.
Okay, classic. Sure.
That's the one that really kind of put me back onto reading graphic novels.
Get you.
That's a very, very special place in my heart.
Are you reading anything right now?
I am reading V for Vendetta.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so I'm reading that. I think before that I read The Long Halloween.
Okay.
I like Joker in that too.
Yeah.
It wasn't really about him, but he was in there.
Yeah, no, he has his cameos.
Watchmen, love the comedian in there.
Yeah.
Lately, after with everything that's been going on, I've been finding myself quoting the comedian a lot. So that's a big thing for me. I mentioned in the past, I consider myself somebody very influenceable.
Get you.
And so whatever I take in,
it'll come out in your art in some form.
Some way, even just in my lifestyle. I'm going to say it. You know?
You.
So it's a big thing.
With Heath Ledger being your favorite live action rendition or portrayal, because Chris and I have this disagreement. I don't want to say disagreement. More or less, Chris is very adamant that Heath Ledger's Joker is not an accurate representation of the Joker, but you've opened my eyes. What when we talked about this before, what comic content do you think his Joker was pulled from?
So that story in general, for the Dark Knight, after I read The Long Halloween, like it kind of made the whole Dark Knight
Make more sense.
Like it really, like little things that they said and all that stuff is in The Long Halloween.
Right.
As far as Heath Ledger's Joker,
So it was one that you showed me, I think, one time. It was
there was a comic book that came out with a Joker that looked just like that one, but that actually came out after.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
A lot of people speculated that look was based off of Heath Ledger, though the writers say that wasn't the case. It
was just a coincidence.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it ended up just working.
That's the Arkham Asylum?
No, it was just Joker.
It was just Joker.
Yeah, it was just Joker.
Because I remember seeing, I think it was Arkham Asylum, that there was like a Joker that looked very similar to that as well. So Joker had a one-shot, or
yeah, it was a one-shot thing, and it was more following one of his henchmen with Joker.
Oh yeah, you told me about this, and it was like about the not just mindset, but yeah, the events happening through the eyes of the henchman.
Yeah.
I need to read that. I haven't read that. That sounds super cool.
It's not my favorite by any means, but I do think it for any Joker enthusiast, they should read it.
That concept is super dope because like they got to be in fear too.
Like the whole time he's kind of like weird, but it's like weird because like, okay, so have you ever read 1984?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know, like they don't kill him till he finally just says, "I love Big Brother," and like he fully just accepts that he loves him. And I don't think that this was based on it, but like it gave me that same feeling because it was like when this guy finally starts to feel okay around the Joker, that's when the Joker like kills him, right? And it's just like weird.
That's wild.
It's weird the way it all kind of happens, and like, but there is always like this inherent fear that you never know what's going to happen, and I think that's the point with the Joker.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that you never know what's coming next.
Did you read the new the Three Jokers?
Yes.
The Black Label. What'd you think of that?
I loved it, man. I like a lot of things though. I'm very hard to get disappointed.
No, I really liked the Three Joker storyline. We talked about this. I'll link the our review on that in here. But to like summarize real quick point is I just feel like a lot of people who didn't like it were too caught up on like they wanted specific names of who the Jokers were.
Right.
But I think that the point of it was that those three identities are the Joker.
Yeah.
And it really just drives home the point that anybody can be the Joker and all that. And they do kind of allude that the Killing Joke Joker is the Joker, the definitive one at the end.
Yeah.
And I've heard that they're working on actually doing a sequel to that. I don't know how true that is, if they really are or not. I hope so.
Like I said, I liked it. I liked kind of how they brought the, Jason and Barbara and
Jason was done so well in that. Yeah.
But like these were the ones that were really affected by the Joker, and all of that was a big deal.
That's a good reason to put it. Yeah, and see, a lot of people didn't like the dynamic between Jason and Barbara and stuff, and like they didn't like that that the story was so much more about the dynamic between not just them but them and Batman.
Right.
And not just about the Jokers, but like that's a really good point. Like these are the ones that were the most affected.
Right.
By the Joker.
And I think people forget that. Jason died at the hands of the Joker. Barbara was paralyzed at the hands of the Joker. That's why they were important. If it the only other one that I can probably think of was Tim, because of the whole Batman Beyond thing. But I think
but that's a Beyond thing. That's,
exactly.
Yeah, that would technically happen after if this was in the continuity or whatever. Right.
Exactly. So those were the ones that it had to have been with. What I did actually like the fact that what drove that weird dynamic between Jason and Barbara was that no one had really before that really stopped to tell Jason dude, we're sorry, we're here for you because of what happened. Like everybody thought he died. Of course that's going to mean something to him.
Right.
And to play that off, I think for me that's something that was important to see, that they did actually care about him, because up to this point they still treat him like he's the shitbag. Like you remember the family, but you're the.
Oh, but I love the perspective that he brought, and not to just turn this into about that comic specifically, but Yeah, when we first see him and he's in the ambulance and he's like beating on the dude that's already been beat.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, no, he doesn't deserve all this. He's like, nah, man, this is a rapist. This is a murderer. Like, this dude definitely deserves this and more. Like,
right.
And his whole other just mindset that he brings to the table, pretty much.
It's important. I think it is important, especially like, you got the first Batman up there. Like, Batman at that time, his mindset was not that different.
For sure.
I remember, because that's one of those things, like, I don't do it that often, but I do have like some I found a website that has all of them. Mm-hmm. And so every once in a while I'll just pull up like these old Batman comic books and I'm just reading them.
Man, Batman used to be super brutal. Like, he hung a mentally challenged person from a helicopter and flat out said it's better this way.
Yeah. That was a whole big ordeal on that one, but that was from that one too. It was with Hugo Strange.
Yeah.
It was one of Hugo Strange's creations.
Yeah, and then there was a time when he used like a full-on RPG like machine gun. I've seen that. There was a time when he locked, what was the name of the freaking villain? I think the villain ended up coming back later on at some point, but he locked a villain in a basement to starve to death.
Batman was brutal.
He was super brutal.
And I think Jason still kind of keeps a certain aspect of that in there, right. And I like what he brings to the table. I think people question that all the time, and it's even made like Batman says, like, you really think I don't think about that?
Right.
And it's important to see that, like, yeah, he's still human at the end of the day, and that. But that's what makes Batman Batman.
Do you like Damian Wayne?
No.
You don't like Damian?
No.
What's your issue with Damian?
He just pisses me off. He's an annoying little brat.
He's not too much different from why is not Jason? Almost 20.
Right, but like at least like Jason died and came back as something else, right? I don't know.
Damian got superpowers on Apocalypse.
Like, I don't know, like, what it is, dude. Like, because I'll say, like, even after I read A Death in the Family, right? So not Death of a Family. That's actually been confused before. But when I read Death in the Family, I was not like I was really impressed with that book. At the end of the day, I understand historically why it was a big deal.
Right.
But I didn't like go off and like, okay, whatever. Maybe because I knew it was going to happen already, and I read it after the fact. But I didn't care, it just was what it was. Like, I didn't feel a certain thing at the end of it, as like, say, opposed to a Killing Joke. Like, I remember when it ended and there's like this certain feeling of like, what the fuck just happened,
Right.
Like, I didn't get that.
How'd you feel about the Killing Joke movie versus the comic? Did you see it?
I did see it. I saw it in theaters the day it came out.
Yeah, so did I.
So it was I liked it, not as much as the comic book, and I hate saying that because I feel like
the ending makes a big difference.
Yeah,
and that's the main thing that I feel changed between the two. But just how ominous the ending was in the comics. It was a little bit more lighthearted. I feel like some of the animated, like, don't get me wrong, I love a lot of the animated DC films, but I feel like some of them, from the stories that they come from, sometimes they change things in like the wrong way. I feel like they could have just left that one. Although, again, why would you want to see the same thing twice? People need something to change within a story. I do get that.
I don't know what it was. I think it was the pacing for me.
I get
if I had to be like completely honest, it was probably the pacing that I didn't like about the animated movie.
Man, no, they messed up. They also messed up my boy Hush, and Hush is one of my favorite books, Batman stories. Period.
I gotta read that one.
I'll let you borrow it. I got the hard copy.
Bet.
For real. Just don't lose it, and I know eventually I'll get it back from you when I get another haircut. He also cuts my hair, but
man.
Yeah, Hush. Hush is a really good story, and then the animated movie, they changed the ending. Have you seen that one? The animated.
I haven't seen it. Like, I haven't read it or seen it.
I'm not gonna spoil either one. I'm gonna let you read and watch and tell me.
Okay, bet.
Your thoughts on that.
I'll do that.
Because that was definitely. I was so upset. Like, I was with that movie up until the ending, and I was like, no, y'all just ruined it. Like, the other ending was so much better. But I'm gonna go ahead and ask you 10 questions before we actually close out.
Okay.
These are random. These are just fun questions, All
right.
So first off, who is your favorite hero?
Hero. All right, that one is hard for me to answer, but it's between one of two. Spawn or Wolverine.
Okay. Why those two?
I've always liked that.
Spawn is kind of like an anti-hero, would you say?
I've always liked the more darker aspect of both of them.
Both of them, okay.
That was just like, as opposed to like, say, like a Superman.
The brooding and not the lighthearted side.
Exactly. But like, I remember when Todd McFarlane was talking about like Spawn, where he's just like, basically Spawn is Batman, but he can go where Batman can't, which is where Spawn can kill people.
Right.
And like, that was a big thing for me.
I feel like Spawn's a lot more than that too, though.
Yeah, he's definitely
a very
a lot
different
more than
character. But I mean, you can't really argue with Todd McFarlane's the creators.
Like that was that's what his word was. Is like he wanted somebody like similar to Batman, but that can go where he couldn't go.
Yeah.
And I liked that, you know. And then with Wolverine, it's not like we haven't seen that. I've liked the whole aspect of like his past and all of that. To me was really cool. So.
Yeah, Wolverine's a very tormented character. I mean, those are both very tormented characters.
And I think that's probably what I like
more so than Batman, arguably. Bruce. I think we already established this, but who's your favorite villain?
Oh yeah, for sure. for sure, it's the Joker. I think like not just the his story or everything like that, but like his relationship with Batman is to me
two sides of the same coin kind of deal, or
so I always use this example, like if I were to take someone like the Penguin, right, his world, like this is his world, and Batman is like a mosquito around it that he needs to get rid of. But for the Joker, this is Batman, and the Joker is the one like fucking with Batman. And that's who he wants to be.
That's a good way to put it. That's definitely
like that's why whenever Batman disappears, he's just like,
he goes to being normal.
Fuck, I don't know what to do now.
This is my biggest argument with people. Like the reason why. Okay, don't get me wrong. I do love Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. I love it as a movie, but my issue, I always say this: if what they are alluding to at the end is that it's all in his head, if that is the case, like the entire story that we saw up until that ending scene where he's in the asylum and he kills the woman and walks out, if everything up to that point was just in his head and it was just a story and that's not necessarily the definitive story of how he came about, cool, I can get behind this.
Right.
But if they are saying this is the definitive story, I can't really get behind him as the Joker, because Joker does not exist without Batman. Like that is one of the key things about the Joker. Otherwise, it's just a crazy person.
Right, and that's why like the Heath Ledger one to me was a big deal, where he was like, "What am I going to do without you?"
Right,
like, how do you do? You know.
And some people want to argue with me on that and say, "Well, you still had the Wayne family in there, and Bruce was still a part of it." It's like, but like you could have replaced Thomas Wayne with any other rich asshole that his mom worked for or whatever, and it would have been the same thing. Like it didn't matter that it was the psyche of this person. It didn't matter. Like it was just I'm a hurting boy.
Yeah, I think like I agree 100%. That's a very important aspect of Joker that separates him from everybody else, and I love that. It really is just like, I want to fuck with Batman. Like I told it to people, he loves Batman.
Yeah.
There's no other word for it.
So what hero would you want to save you if you're in danger? Dangling off of a building, caught in a fire, about to explode.
Oh, dude, that's fucking hard. Oh, damn. That is I can go with either one. Like, I'm gonna go with Wolverine.
Wolverine? You would want Wolverine to save you? Yeah, I'd say
Wolverine. I think that'd be fun.
You don't think that he might make the situation a little worse somehow?
You know, I think it's gonna be a fun adventure, bro. Like, okay, whatever it is, let's do it.
I get you. All right, so what hero would you not want to save you? If they showed up, you're just like, crap. I mean, I'm not making it out of this.
That damn. Like, who would I not want to save me? Damian Wayne. God damn it! You just kill me now.
You're just annoying.
Yeah, Damian Wayne, bro. Like, I just don't even want to be around him.
What character would you be in a relationship with?
Okay, this one's weird, but like, Rogue.
Rogue?
I love Rogue.
Would she not kill you?
You're
worth it.
I love her.
Okay, what is it about Rogue, I gotta ask?
Probably the same thing. Like
Is it just
she's slightly tormented too. Like
okay.
I've always liked that about the character.
So it's not just like a look thing.
It's not a look thing. I do think she's beautiful every time she's been portrayed.
Right.
But like that tormented past about her, like even her powers, she regrets. Like not just having the power to absorb your things, but
I think
when she gets the
aspects
stuff
of
from,
this BDSM lifestyle is showing in other places.
right. Like, no, but like even as a kid, like she was always like my favorite. You know, her and Wolverine, like they've always had that, and I love it.
Dynamic and stuff. Yeah, for sure. That's cool. All right. So, what got you into comics in the first place? Was it movies, TV shows?
I'd say for sure it was TV and movies.
Was it like Batman animated series, Spider-Man?
I remember growing up with the Adam West one, like at early childhood.
Wow.
Early childhood. I actually remember watching that.
Okay.
And then coming to like the States. And
coming to the States?
I was born in Venezuela.
I forget that you were born there. I knew you were Venezuelan.
I was born over there, and so I actually grew up watching that and Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
Like those were the two things that I saw. So when I came back, that's like immediately brought me back to that.
You also need to read Last Ronin then. Second book, as of this recording, second book just came out. I've got the first one. I'm gonna let you borrow a couple books.
All right. But yeah, like I started off with that, and like I remember back when I was younger in high school, everybody thought I had a New York accent. I actually think it was because I grew up watching Ninja Turtles, and that's how I learned English.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
when you came to the States, did you think that phrases like "cowabunga" and all that were like real phrases?
No, like obviously over there I saw it in Spanish, but like I saw a lot of TV when I got here, and so that's kind of what helped me like learn phrases and things like that. So watching Ninja Turtles. They're all from
this stuff influenced your life on a deeper level.
Everything, bro. I owe a lot to all of these heroes.
Is Ninja Turtles still like one of your favorites at all? 'Cause we didn't talk about that.
I can't say like they're my favorite things, but it was a big thing for me growing up. I guess. So the comic book thing specifically, I got my comic books from Half Price Books. So
it's a good place.
It's a good place, but when we come from a time where comic books wasn't mainstream.
For sure.
So if you don't really know people that are going out buying comic books and stuff like that, you don't understand about continuity and anything like that, and so you're just buying random shit.
Yeah.
So like it made it hard for me to like understand the Spider-Man multiverse or like the difference between Ultimate Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man, things like that. That's probably why I like really lean towards Spawn, because there's just Spawn
once.
And it's like, I can follow this. Like I remember I have like Turok 1 too. That was the other one that I would read. Because of that,
I
could follow that. Bloodshot, same thing.
That's true. Really, you watched or you read Bloodshot?
A little bit, yeah. My brother was more into him. No, because it came out during the whole.
It's on like Amazon, and I think it's on HBO Max now too. Actually,
okay.
I think that's what it was. I still need to watch it. I was just curious. I heard mixed reviews about it.
I'm still down to watch it just because, like I said, I actually did read that comic book.
You'd probably know. You know way more about it than I do. I don't really know anything.
My brother was the bigger fan. Like he loved Bloodshot.
I mean,
for sure.
You guys are gonna have to watch that, and I'm gonna have to have a conversation with your brother about it.
Okay.
All right. So, what do you dislike about comic culture?
Probably the same thing I dislike about like say metal culture. It's a very inclusive culture, or like I guess exclusive. I should say like it's really hard for them to accept you in it. Like you gotta like kind of show that you actually
know what you're talking about. There is a lot of like if you bring up a conversation with somebody, it's a lot of I know more about this character, and it becomes kind of like a beef thing or like just my knowledge is more extensive than yours. And then do you go to comic book shops at all? Have you been to them?
I mean, obviously I was going to like Bedrock City to buy the Three Jokers
for sure,
right. But I don't go that often because again, like I didn't grow up in
Bedrock has done a very good, and we have an interview of that dropping. Hopefully it's out by the time you guys see this video. If not, then it'll be shortly after this. But we did an interview with the owner of Bedrock, and just the way that they cultivated the environment of that comic book shop so that it's more welcome to like everybody. It's very different than a lot of the other comic book shops, and it's just like you're saying, there's like it's a inclusive thing. When you go to certain comic book shops, there are people there that are like, oh, like this is my comic book shop, like this is my home.
And like I've never liked that in anything. It's, again, like, and I do understand that like it is important for some people because that's all we had, right? But like if somebody gets introduced to like a character because they saw it on a movie and now they want to go like get like actually buy it, like I don't see the problem.
Yeah. Like everybody's a fan in their own right. Even if you just came into it because of the MCU.
Yeah.
Like a lot of kids these days, especially now, that is their introduction. It's been through like because of Iron Man and Captain America and these movies that we have.
And like I mean, I've told
different time. It's
definitely, and like I've told people, like I actually myself feel I'm a bigger film fan than I am a comic book fan. And so when I approach like comic book movies, I look at it as a movie first, and then I worry about everything else. And like that's probably why it's easier for me to like just like them.
I always have and I know
you're torn.
I get torn, bro, because I come from. Both, I grew up on comics. I love it. Like I know a lot of these stories. I'm very impartial to how they're done, but then the other side of me is I am a radio, television, film major. I have a degree in this,
right? And
then I've done the music scene, the live production and stuff. So like I know the inner workings of film and stuff, and I get very split. I'm just like. I'll normally come out with two opinions on a movie. Like one is like with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, for example. On one aspect, that is a great film. Like it is done absolutely beautifully. But then my comic side of me is like, well,
but it can't be that. Exactly.
If this isn't right, then and
like, because I just flat out lean towards the film stuff first.
I get you.
It's easy for me to just kind of stay there and like I enjoy the movie. Right. You know, like we've had our multiple discussions on Thor. I know nobody likes Thor.
I don't like.
I loved it, and because I sat there and I was like, let me look at this like an independent film. And just look at how everyone else, like how people interact in the movie.
But I don't just like dislike Thor because of the movies, though. I'm just not a Thor fan.
Oh no! In that sense, I agree. In that sense, I agree. I've never like sat there like, wow, I really love Thor. Like I'm talking about just the movie itself.
Yeah.
And I just remember like there was parts of it I just thought were really charming and things. And I always like say this multiple times. The Thor films, they were the sacrificial lamb so that MCU can build this entire universe. Like if you just had Captain America and Iron Man, it really would have just kind of stayed on Earth.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
You know, but it was what it was. But like I remember the first Thor, I just thought it was charming. That was
charming. That's a good word.
For lack of a better word, like I remember specifically the
Chris Hemsworth.
No, it was like there was a scene where Natalie Portman like she like smiles because like Thor flirts with her or something, and like the dynamic to me was just like it was cute.
Good chemistry and stuff. I get you.
I liked it.
I get you.
And then that's what I focused on.
What do you want in your comic collection? Because you do have a comic collection.
What do I want? I want to get the rest of the Spawn comic books that I need.
What are you missing?
Everything.
The entire collection.
No, so like right now I'm not sure what I'm missing because everything's in storage because I ended up having to move.
That's right.
Because I wanted to go back and reread it, and like I was missing 16 for months, so I ended up finally getting it, and now I don't know what I'm missing right now because I haven't been able to go past a certain thing. But I know I don't have everything. And I want to get everything Spawn. I would like to even get like the stuff in between, like the Violator comic books that go into it, the Youngblood comic books that go into it.
Okay, that's cool.
Anything that somehow like links with that Spawn story, I want it.
You want to get it?
No, that's a big thing.
You want the absolute complete collection.
Yes.
What other profession would you pursue if you were not doing? Not just music and being an artist, but you're in the live aspect and audio and all that. What other than that? What would you do?
I've talked to my wife multiple times that like I would like to do some acting.
You're very good at it.
Acting and like I've always loved the idea of voice acting at least.
I could see that.
Yeah. Something along those lines.
Houston and Dallas actually have quite a few voice acting like centers, so they're places where they do a lot of that for like anime and some of that other stuff too. Honestly, for anime, like there's quite a few of them. Speaking of, are you into anime at all?
Yeah.
There's more. All right. Side question. What's a good anime that you like?
My favorite is Cowboy Bebop.
Okay. Yeah, that's very stylistic, very good. It's got that hip hop influence and stuff. That's dope.
That one's more jazz. Samurai Champloo had the hip hop.
That's true. Both of those are top notch. Like, if you haven't really seen anime, you should definitely watch those two. Just had to ask. All right, and the last question: what era of comics would you live in? If you could live in comics, what era would it be? You know, like Golden Age, Silver, Bronze, like anything like that, or like you can even be more specific, like this kind of time period within any of it, or something like that. What era?
Man, okay, so you know, what is it? It's Batman Year One, The Long Halloween, and then there's another one that's like in the series. That time, I think.
That time, so early Batman.
Early Batman, where like the gangs are still, you know, very prevalent. Like the mafia is still very prevalent.
Gotcha.
And seeing how everything's kind of getting shaped.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. You want to be at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Really cool.
Well, I appreciate you, bro. Why don't you tell everybody where they can follow you at? And everything.
Yeah.
So.
But pretty much you can find me everywhere. You just got to look for Benny Bolivar. Everyone always has trouble spelling that. So BENNIBOLIVAR.
And don't worry, it will be written on here, like down below.
I'm the only Benny Bolivar. You look me up, you'll find me for sure.
So
I'm
Facebook,
everywhere.
all that, and Skeptic Nation as well.
Skeptic Nation as well. We do have skepticnation.com. We have merch. You can find all our music. We're on Spotify, everywhere.
Gotcha.
On that as well.
Gotcha. Your music is everywhere for Benny Bolivar?
Yes.
Cool.
I will say this. I do have like mixtapes out there that like you kind of they're basically just on Bandcamp. My EPs, my like official music.
Yeah.
That's everywhere. My mixtapes, Bandcamp.
Gotcha. And we'll definitely have one of his songs fading in probably right about now as we hit our outro, and check out the whole song, and then definitely check out more of his music. And as you guys know, this is the Comic Cave. You can follow us at Comic Cave Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube is probably what you're watching this on right now, iTunes and Spotify. And before I end on your right side, there is a figure. Could you grab that for me? And as you guys know, at the moment we are doing a giveaway of the awesome Lee Mayhew figure. We're trying to get to 150 subscribers on YouTube, so all you gotta do is subscribe, like, comment, and the more videos that we're doing this giveaway on, which is pretty much everything before this point, the more you comment on, the higher chance that you have to win this. And we're also doing some other giveaways on Instagram, so definitely go check that out. On that note, peace.
I'ma go against the grain. I don't really know which way I wanna go. While you niggas stay involved, I'ma go against the grain. Hold up a minute. Most of these niggas, they thought I was finished. I'm back with a vengeance. I said it before, I won't stop till I'm winning. I said it, I meant it. The way that I felt, I never amended the card I was dealt. These niggas pretending they never was real. How in the fuck can you follow the industry pills? You never was real, never was live. Everyone thinking you ready to die. You was a squill, you was a lie. Little by little we see you a coward. Question to ask, are you really alive? All that you did was already co-signed. Follow up, predecessors in line. All that you did was just sign on the line. And I'm thinking that all of the bullshit you did was in hopes that the people will see it. Really trying to act like you're not in your feelings, praying that you get a deal off of it. So let me get up on the cross, show you who's the boss. If I really gotta act, then I'd rather take a loss. I'm in it for the money, but I'm not about a fake. I would never give a man, so I gotta get a break. I would never be a hoe, I would never give on top. I would never sell my soul just to make it to the top. Motherfuckers really wanna see a nigga flop, cause I'm not about to let another hand inside a pot. I would rather be a man and try to do it on my own, with my own name, Benny Bolivar. I'ma get it with the family, just not up for debate. I'ma do it my way, I'ma go against the grain. I don't really know which way I wanna go. While you niggas stay involved, I'ma go against the grain. I don't really know which way I wanna go. While you niggas stay involved, I'ma go
I can feel them coming. Vultures, collecting souls from the culture. Exposure to finding things was the motive. Focus in preparation for my destination to the fucking greatest. Got me wired up, need a sign from the most higher up. I'll line them up with a fresh fade. And I ain't gotta say a word, nigga, I press play. Pin game straight, raise hell. Fuck fail, prevail, no weapon form, don't retail. That's against me, could ever take my greatness. Wanna apologize for frankness. Gotta navigate this matrix like I'm Neo. Dodging all these free codes. Vices get you exposed and pretty lies and fake smiles disguised behind the zeros and comma shit. I can understand why niggas wildin', but nah.